Okay, I'm genuinely tired of getting comments about Brand New Day and what they think the Punisher is. I also hate people saying the Punisher wouldn't support X group. Left or right, it's genuinely stupid to use a fictional character as your political mouthpiece and makes your entire cause look immature and dumb. People saying that Frank Castle wouldn't support ICE because he said something stupid in a terribly written show that doesn't understand him are just dumb. Born Again is not good, and the entire storyline around Frank makes no sense because Frank killed a shitload of cops that were their friends, and even if they were not corrupt themselves, they still knew those people that were corrupt. But the corrupt cops that we see in the show, like, why would they worship Frank Castle as a person or his symbol? It just doesn't make any sense. Punisher isn't a character that is left or right. He kills people that do evil things, and whatever you personally think is evil means nothing because he only kills people that commit evil actions. He does not care about your political affiliations. I hate to break this to people, but simply having beliefs doesn't make you good or bad. Actions make you a good or bad person. If you believe it's good to give money to the poor, but actively do not do that when offered an opportunity, then it doesn't matter what you believe because your actions do not convey that. If a person believes that white, black, or Hispanic people are inherently better, but treats everyone with kindness and respect, then whatever his beliefs are, or their beliefs are, doesn't mean anything. Punisher only cares about people that actively partake in actionable evil actions. Politics inherently has both sides doing fucked up things for whatever shared interests there are, and that's what makes the Punisher character interesting. So this entire left/right Punisher is literally a fantasy and genuinely annoying to me. Hey, I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, currently halfway there. So if you like the video so far, then please subscribe. My packaging isn't good, but YouTube keeps pushing my content with thousands of impressions, and I'm just not generating a lot of clicks. As one of the lucky few to click on a poorly packaged video, then subscribe. Leave a comment telling me how to improve the thumbnails and other things like that. It will be greatly appreciated. Now back to the video, which leads me to Brand New Day and Frank's characterization under Disney. I hate it. Let me get this out of the way. Frank Castle would probably not kill Jean Grey in Brand New Day, and at the very least, if he was going to, he would have been torn if he should. So the entire ending act of like Peter getting shot is just bullshit as far as I'm concerned. But Marvel has kind of fucked up Punisher for literally decades, and I kind of want to break down the reasons why he wouldn't have killed Jean Grey. Yes, Jean Grey killed people in this movie, innocent people. She should be in jail, and Spider-Man shouldn't have let her go, which is an entirely different problem. Frank, on the other hand, has a spitting image of who he is staring at him when he wants to kill her. Every evil action she commits is because of the government taking her sister and experimenting on her. All she's trying to do is find her, which is something he finds out and just doesn't care about for some reason. If I was being charitable, the reason why Frank doesn't actually let Peter finish telling him that the reason she's doing all this is to find her family, that a government agency had a hand in kidnapping and covering it up, was due to him wanting to stop the internal conflict I'm about to discuss. However, Frank was given enough information to have the trauma that he definitely still has be brought to the surface. We know that Frank doesn't like killing innocent people or people just doing their jobs, but he was given a bunch of information in this movie for him to come to the conclusion that she's essentially a mirror of himself, where she's willing to go farther than him as a kid because she doesn't have a reason to value life like he does. It's a darker mirror where she's blowing up government buildings in an attempt to get revenge or save the person she loves while going too far in some areas because the writers kind of forgot that making her kill an innocent person or mind rape NJ in this film makes her irredeemable. They did the same shit with Wanda, which is just crazy. Punisher trying to find the people that killed his family was literally his entire motivation, and clearly a parallel between both of them. Had the film actually wanted to be a movie with something to say instead of one that just key jangled iconic Spider-Man things in front of us for 2 hours, then we would have seen this discussed. While I think eventually he'd probably come to the conclusion that no matter the parallel, she does have to go since she's killing innocent people, I think that this conflict should have been present in the film, and it's just kind of not. Her being a literal psychopath that mind rapes people and kills them just to prove a point sometimes is never explored. Earlier I said that it was because the writers are too busy key jangling and recreating different shots or imagery from other pieces of Spider-Man media rather than actually trying to address any of the themes in the story, and I stand by that. In this film, we have a war vet who should be in jail or actively pursued by the government and is just roaming free so we can have friendly banter with Spider-Man, even though he should be trying to arrest past him. In this film, Frank Castle is known as the guy who murders government agents. Pardon or not, it doesn't matter. He's still being the Punisher. He's a violent extremist and they never tolerate him. Even if he did get a pardon at the end of his show, he's still killing people and subverting justice. Then we have the literal psychic psychopath leaping around killing innocent people that gets a slap on the wrist at the end because Spider-Man doesn't think those people matter, I guess. Especially when he literally could have saved that one guy that gets hit by the bus or the taxi and just chose to stare at him and make a threat at her. We have a parallel between Frank Castle and the main villain of the story that is never explored because it doesn't want to actually be serious like Homecoming or Far From Home. We have Ned and MJ coming back for literally no reason just because they still want these characters here and to tell stories with them, but are not willing to tell fans to fuck off who very clearly don't want them here and don't care about these stories. Every single one of these films makes $1 billion. At what point do we say fuck it, we're writing what we want and the bad faith criticisms don't matter to us? None of the themes in the movie are actually explored meaningfully because of these people, and I despise that. I'm so tired of hearing Frank say the same line over and over in everything he's in. He got one good line in this movie where he says he misses his family and he's like, do you really think that this is a lifestyle? And that he wishes that he really wasn't the Punisher. And I'm seeing people eat that shit up on Twitter when it's literally derivative of something that he said in his own show again. But it just dawned on me that nothing he says in this movie or in anything since his show is original at all. And people praise this shit on Twitter. But literally every other piece of dialogue in this movie, and including the one that I just mentioned, regardless of like the mildly well-written banter, is just him repeating himself and the rooftop scene dialogue again over and over again from the Daredevil show. And every piece of dialogue in every other show has him saying the same thing. Don't hit me with that candy shit. How many times do we have to fucking hear that? Can we actually have him grow, you lazy fucks? A perfect opportunity where Spider-Man should be the one trying to get Frank in the game from an emotional standpoint, while Frank breaks down about whether the teenager or early 20-year-old he's considering killing deserves it. Like, I know this is the MCU, but these stories were once great or trying to say something or do something interesting, and now they're just mass-produced sludge, and it's just sad. What's wild is that the MCU keeps pretending it's tackling mature themes while sanding off every edge that made characters like Frank Castle or Matt Murdock matter in the first place. Punisher isn't supposed to be a mascot for moral clarity. He's the embodiment of what happens when the justice system collapses and rage fills the vacuum. But Disney's version turns him into a guy who just feels bad about killing people but still does it anyway. Like he's one therapy session away from joining the Avengers or something. Like literally what happened in Thunderbolts. That's not growth, it's just neutering. Frank's tragedy was never that he couldn't stop killing people, it's that he couldn't stop believing killing was the only way to fix the world. That's what makes him terrifying and fascinating. When you strip that away, you're left with a hollow archetype who repeats the same rooftop monologue about his family like a broken record. It's lazy writing disguised as emotional depth. The Punisher isn't supposed to be relatable, he's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. He's the mirror that shows how fragile morality becomes when grief and vengeance fuse together. Which is why one of his most popular stories is him killing every hero in the verse, because they're the ones who caused his family's deaths. And that's the real failure of Brand New Day's Punisher. They keep trying to make Frank fit into a world that doesn't want him. A world where every act of violence has to be justified by a corporate-approved moral compass. But Frank doesn't fit that framework. He's the guy who walks into that world and burns it all down because it's built on hypocrisy. He's not left, he's not right, he's not anti-hero with a heart of gold. He's a man who lost everything and decided that the only justice left was the kind that bleeds. The MCU doesn't understand that. It wants Punisher to be digestible, tweetable, memeable, a symbol you can slap it on a t-shirt and pretend it means something, but the skull isn't supposed to be comforting. It's supposed to haunt you. It's supposed to remind you that vengeance doesn't heal, it corrodes, which is why the skull becomes less and less visible the longer he becomes the Punisher. And until Marvel stops treating him like a misunderstood soldier who just needs a hug, we'll keep getting this sanitized sludge where Frank Castle is less a man and more of a brand to be used and discarded. If they actually wanted to write him right, they'd let him confront the system that made him, not just the criminals it produces. They'd let him look at Jean Grey, see himself not as a killer, but as a reflection of what happens when pain becomes ideology. That's the Punisher story worth telling, but Disney doesn't want that. They want a mascot, and Frank Castle was never meant to be anyone's mascot. But I'm done. The next video will be me releasing and making the Discord public and explaining why I'm doing this YouTube stuff. As I mentioned before, I'm in college, so a lot of this is basically just to try to help with that, and if I could make this into a career, then I would love that. I'll further expand on those things in the next video. See you guys later.